That is it. That's the freaking answer. So these are called plasmoids, and the drones are actually probably government drones chasing these plasmoids, and they don't want us to know how important these are. These are magic. These are the plasmas I've been talking about for years. And I will give the credit where credit's due. There are several people who posited that these drones are actually chasing the plasmoids, that the drones are not plasmoids, and I 100% agree. Genius. So what the F are plasmoids? I'll tell you. And I have 115 videos on plasma, plasmoids, and plasma intelligence in my playlist on my bio if you are obsessed with this after this video. Okay, plasma is the fourth state of matter. It is in plasma balls, it is lightning, it is ionized gas that creates fluorescence when the electrons are flurrying around the nucleus and they're free. Crash course on plasma. Non-plasma, plasma, free electrons, not super tied to the nucleus. This can create fluorescence, which is in the aurora borealis, lightning, fluorescent light, neon lights. Plasma is also the sun and any star. Plasma has to do with sacred geometry, and now let's get into plasmoids. There are several theories that plasma is intelligent, including the intelligent plasma hypothesis by Dr. Massimo Teodorini, who is an astrophysicist, and of course an electronic musician, because plasma is sound. There's also a book, A New Science of Heaven by Robert Temple, which is literally about the science of plasma transforming humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. It talks about plasmoids. And then this is Dr. Massimo's book about consciousness and plasma. So basically these plasmoids have literally been studied by the government since the 50s. And now they're appearing in our atmosphere instead of just space where they can be hidden away to study in private and its magical properties. Yep, plasma is magic. There are several government and physicist papers on plasma. Just Google CIA plasma UAPs. You can also look up this and this in the Journal of Modern Physics about new studies on plasma and plasmoids. This was recent. A couple common things plasmoids have in common are they put you into a flow state. You can literally hallucinate when you see them. They distort light. They also can be found a lot near water. And sometimes even plasma beings or these entities shapeshift from the ship down into these little either plasma balls or humanoid shapes of light and connect with people. They can be seen in the form of toruses, blobs, spirals. They glow. They're electromagnetic. Okay, so these drones that are probably studying these plasmas, this is the kicker. These plasmas are basically fractal and light. And this is where science meets magic, my friends. Sacred geometry, plasma is associated not only with the platonic solids, but plasma is indeed fractal, even in mathematics and science. Especially in quark-gluon plasma, think of it as dying plasma, because it basically, when they're in the Hadron Collider or when they're breaking all these things apart, this plasma is shown at the deepest structures of the universe, which I would call dying plasma. My friend actually also thought of that and told me that. And I think that now we'll get into my theory. The opposite of this dying plasma is the living plasma that literally creates everything in the universe. It is the substrate of freaking reality in this holographic universe we call the Matrix. It is the divine feminine, and these plasmoids are these divine feminine shapes holding the masculine consciousness. Plasma is the vehicle for consciousness. If you go to the link in my bio, you can read on my website all about what plasma intelligence is. Basically, our entire world is made up of a plasma akin to a living ether, and a live ether, which is the medium for light and consciousness. And think of these plasmoids basically as holding these future or higher consciousnesses that are bilocating or remote viewing us. What is that? Basically, bilocation is where your consciousness can be two places at once. So these plasmoids almost create like a wormhole or like a looking glass where these alien entities can view us without actually being here. So they kind of stay safe in case they get shot down by these drones, which isn't going to do anything to them because they're literally higher consciousnesses and we can't do anything to them. And there's also no reason to be scared of them. We should be scared of ourselves. And that's what they're here to tell us, by the way. If you wanted to get into some channeled messaging here, number one, we should be scared of ourselves. Number two, we should stop all of the stuff we're doing that while they're showing up around certain facilities, they don't really want that happening. There's way safer methods. And guess what? Humanity can save themselves by... We're creating the need for fusion and cleaning the air because of the stuff we're doing. There's things we don't need to do that can stop that all from happening to begin with. We'll figure that out eventually. You can think of plasma as ki, prana, energy, flubber. Think of the fact that we're all in a painting. The painting is all made by plasma, but it's in different gradients, densities, colors. That is our universe. So plasma has its own sentience or intelligence apart from consciousness, which means that these entities, these plasma balls, they're actually holding the consciousness. But they think of it as an intelligent horse, or an intelligent horse that you're riding. You're the consciousness riding this horse. The gods, so we're the consciousness, or these beings looking at us are riding this horsey, and this plasma ball is also intelligent and sentient, and it can shapeshift, it can, fly away, it can go very fast, maybe into other dimensions. So plasma is the vehicle for consciousness. So think about when we die, our consciousness goes back to this fountain, this lake, and then it's almost reborn into this earthly plane. It's a more fifth dimensional and fourth dimensional space. And then think of these plasma balls, these plasmoids that you're seeing as this denser plasma, this ship that's holding our consciousness. So it's kind of like everything's made out of clay, and we're scooping the clay and we're adding stuff to it, so it's a ship. I hope that makes sense. Also, something to know, consciousness is the male principle, plasma is the female principle. They feed off of each other almost in a feedback loop or an infinity loop to make the divine child, to make matter, to make God's children, the universe's children, literally everything creation, everything you see on this earth. And something also, us, we are actually the tool, we are the funnel, we are the gold, alchemical gold, we are the vessel, we are the chalice, we are the Holy Grail, and consciousness and plasma feedback with us. And that's how we create our reality, our multi-dimensional experience, is by harnessing consciousness and plasma. Think of consciousness almost as like this fifth dimensional light, what people can call God. And think of plasma as the energy that consciousness molds to create our third dimensional reality. And these plasmas that you see in our third dimensional reality in the form of lightning, stars, these are almost three-dimensional artifacts of a higher dimensional plasma, a fifth dimensional plasma, or a fourth dimensional plasma. Think of fourth dimensional plasma as kind of like dark matter. This is like maybe what gray aliens are made out of. It's more inorganic. And then this fifth dimensional plasma would kind of almost be like think of it in the singularity of a black hole, or in a fifth dimensional space where time and space do not exist. And it has to do with a higher consciousness, and it's kind of like feedbacking with this universe, and this like big consciousness is learning about us as we learn about it. I'm getting on way too much of a tangent, but I'm just trying to introduce you to stuff in case you haven't heard of this before, but I talk about this all the time. Here's the thing. You know truth. I don't have to convince you of anything. You never have to watch my videos again. I do not care. What I care about is saying what I feel like is true in my heart and soul, what I am not being paid to say, what I am saying from the deepest source of my intuition. Maybe I'm wrong, whatever, but I don't think I am. I think plasma is the future. I think plasma is the Holy Grail, and so are we. I think plasma is the return of this divine feminine, but also this age of Aquarius, this divine child. Plasma will have to do with how we travel in the future. It will have to do with interdimensional communication. It's going to have to do with healing cancer. It's going to have to do with cleaning the air. And these things are already happening. It has to do with us being able, when we interdimensionally travel, we're probably going to be using these same kind of things in the future, way in the future. Oh, but what I was saying is, if this is true. You feel it in your heart and soul. If this is making your cheeks warm, if this is making you excited and giddy, but you also feel like a weird sense of like flow and peace, that this cannot hurt you. Think of it as like a grandparent that lets you make mistakes, and sometimes it says no when you ask it for things, but it really wants everything for your highest good to happen. This is kind of what the plasmas, or this plasmatic energy, wants for all of us. It wants our highest good, and it doesn't usually interfere, but it sometimes does when we need it. And you can communicate with this plasma at any time. There's the energy of plasma all outside of us. There's our inner plasma. There's our higher self. There's